Hi folks, my name is Derek Fisher. Welcome to this course on CISSP certification preparation. So I'm going to cover a couple topics here on what you can expect to see in this roadmap. First of all, in the first domain, we're going to talk about security and risk management. And this is really how organizations work to identify the risks and manage those risks through policies, tools, and training. Next, in the second domain, we're going to talk about asset security. And this is really understanding the different assets that are in the organization and how best to provide security to those assets through proper handling throughout that life cycle of that asset. And the asset can be software, it can be hardware, it can be data, and so forth. The next domain, we're going to talk about architecture and engineering, where we're going to discuss designing systems to be resilient to security issues, which requires building architecture and security controls early in the architecture process. Domain 4, we're going to talk about communication and network security. This is where data can be transmitted through many different mediums, whether it's cellular or local networks or wide area networks. And each area that the data transmits, security must be considered. Domain 5, we're going to talk about identity and access management, where controlling the access to systems and data requires the management of subjects and their interactions with the system. In other words, this is going to cover a lot of the authentication and authorization. Domain 6, we're going to talk about security assessment and testing. This is how we're going to understand how organizations can apply different tools, test cases, and reporting to ensure that security is being properly considered and that there is reporting on the different security issues that occur in a system. Domain 7, we're going to talk about security operations. And this includes investigations, configuration management, and incident management. Lastly, in Domain 8, we're going to talk about software development security and really understand the analysis and runtime tools that are used to protect and assess the security of applications. So some of the prerequisites that you're going to want to consider going into this Cert prep is that you want to have a basic understanding of security. And you don't need to have a deep, in-depth security knowledge, but in order to pass these CISSP exam, you're definitely going to have strong security knowledge. So before taking this course, make sure that you have a very good understanding of the material that's going to be covered in the 8 domains of the CISSP. You also want to understand system design, architecture, and best practices. So again, you don't need to have a thorough knowledge of system design, but you want to make sure that you at least have good understanding of how systems work, how they're deployed, how they're maintained, and that will definitely help you in the CISSP exam. You also want to have some knowledge of what risks, threats, and vulnerabilities are and how they impact a system. You want to have a basic understanding of networking and how software is developed. You don't need to be a network engineer or a software engineer, but you would definitely want to understand how networking on the basic level works and how software is developed and deployed. You want to have a basic understanding of the data, systems, and software lifecycle. So this really means, especially when we talk about data collection, data maintenance, and also data destruction. Same with systems and software. So just a few additional points to mention here. The CISSP is considered a mile wide and an inch deep, meaning that we're going to cover a lot of different topics within the CISSP certification prep. Each domain is a distinct discipline in security. So it's important to know that there's much more to learn for each one of these domains. The goal here is just to really understand some of the key points of each of these domains. Achieving this certification can lead to the next level of your career. And that's why you're here, because this is a very important step to progressing in your career and making yourself stand out from a security perspective. And then lastly here, for more information on the CISSP exam, go over to ISC2.org, certifications CISSP, and that'll show you some of the basic prerequisites, what you should expect in the exam, how to take the exam, and how to get your actual certification. So with that, I appreciate your time and I wish you good luck on your journey here and thank you for your time.